Donald Duck just proved that he's on the Epstein files. Listen to this.
I never had the privilege of going to his island.
Huh? You never had the privilege. Oh yeah, you're on the list.
Oh my word. I told y'all yesterday that it's always one gist or the other every single day. Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by, supporting your girl on this channel. So, you know how we do, our credit goes to the creators in those videos. And guys, in today's video, so Donald Trump just said, and I quote, he never had the privilege of visiting the Jeffrey Epstein's Island. If you don't know the tea surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's Island, please, Google is your friend. So, moving forward, he called it a privilege, okay? And let's just say the internet is dragging him. And I say that dragging in capital letters. Let's see what those people have to say, and I'll see you soon.
Donald Trump is your president. I want to hear from you because he said, as the president of the United States, I did not have the privilege of going to Epstein's Island. I did not have the privilege of going to Epstein's Island. That is what he said. And if we take the word Epstein out and replace it for what it really is, instead of that euphemism, I never got a chance to go to a sex ring island. I never got to go to a pedophile island. I never got to go to a sexual abuse of minor island. That's what he's saying. I never had the pleasure to go to a pedophile island. That is what the president of the United States said. Could you imagine? What if your neighbor said that? I never had the pleasure of going to Epstein Island. Or your coworker. Would you associate with that person? What if your friend, your family member said, oh, yep, never had the pleasure of going to Epstein Island. This isn't fucking Epcot. We're talking about Epstein Island, where the darkest of dark things occurred. And Donald Trump, the president of the United States, a position that used to be in the highest regard of all American people, said, I never had the pleasure of going to an island of pedophilia. That's where we are. I have to remind myself every single day that that is where we are. This is the reality. This is the fork in the road, and this is the path that America chose. I didn't vote for him. I know the majority of the people who are going to see this video did not vote for him either, but we collectively chose this for our nation.
Donald Trump has made some wild-ass statements, and I know he does it all the time. But Donald Trump has stated that in the last administration's term, Democratic administration, the Democrats, liberals, whatever you want to call them, has single-handedly planted information within the Epstein files. What information? Nobody knows. He just said they planted information within the Epstein files. Second thing that Donald Trump stated was he never had the privilege of visiting Epstein's Island. This is the same man who said the files didn't exist. This is the same man who stated that, why the fuck are you all still worried about this? I'm going to be honest with you. They're going to try to attempt to throw anything at the wall to make that bitch stick, besides show us the motherfucking files. If it wasn't this big of a fucking problem, all you gotta do, then the bitch is gonna drop the Martin Luther King files like we gave a fuck. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a black man. I didn't give not one fuck. I didn't give not one fuck. I just want to know if you like kids or not, bro. So, I will keep you updated.
So, this whole thing happened right during a press conference in Scotland, where he stood next to the UK Prime Minister and said, and I quote, I never had the privilege of going to the Epstein's Island. I turned it down. And even went ahead to throw some shade at Bill Clinton, saying he went about 28 times and all of that. And you guys know that the internet will never let that slide. I mean, once the guy breathes or coughs or echoes anything, the internet is on fire. And people are saying, how can you call that a privilege, in quotes, right? Because, I mean, we all know what went down, or what supposedly went down at that island, right? And we all know what the controversy surrounding it is, right? So people are saying, how can you call visiting that kind of place a privilege? And Twitter is on fire because people are going back and forth saying his choice of words is nasty, tone deafening, and very telling, right? That there's something he's not saying. Because, I mean, according to them, if he has nothing to hide, he should release the Epstein's list. And some people say, and I quote, that he's saying the silent part out loud because he didn't express sympathy for the victims, right? He didn't denounce Epstein's crimes. And instead, they said the silent part he said out loud was that he ended the friendship because Epstein hired people who worked at Mar-a-Lago. So not because of the abuse, but because they stole his stuff. And they are saying that make it make sense. Now, this is the bigger question people are asking. That why exactly would he not release the Epstein's file? Because if he's saying it's not part of it, then what does he have to hide? Guys, what do you think in the comment section? Because this controversy is taking the internet by its own. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Why you think he doesn't want to support the release of the Epstein's client list?
Says he never visited Jeffrey Epstein's private island. Listen.
I never had the privilege of going to his island.
What did you say?
I never had the privilege of going to his island.
What the fuck did you just say?
I never had the privilege of going to his island.
So President Trump dropped a dime this morning during his press conference in Scotland and named names of people that are on the fucking list. Or at least on the fucking flight logs which compiled a goddamn list. He said that he himself had never been to, or excuse me, he said he never had the privilege of going to Epstein Island or Pedophile Island. I don't know what the fuck he means by having the privilege. It ain't no goddamn privilege to be invited to a fucking island where you ain't doing nothing but molesting kids. Anyway, I digress. But listen, he did say that old Slick Willie, yeah, he dropped Slick Willie's name, old Tricky Bill Clinton, said that he had been there 28 times. He named some other names too. So don't believe me? Watch this video real quick, and then at the end of the video, answer the question: do you believe Pedophile Island, Epstein Island, was a place for the demonic, deranged, sick, nasty motherfuckers to go and molest kids? Or do you believe it was simply a place for heads of state, presidents, leaders of countries, businessmen, the wealthy and the well-off, to just go and have their private meetings and discuss business matters? Let me know in the comments. Check the video out.
And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down.
A place for pedophiles or a place for business meetings? Let me know in the comments.
Good afternoon. It is Monday, July 28th, 2025, and earlier today, Donald Trump was meeting with the Prime Minister of the UK, and after their meeting, he took questions from the reporters. And of course, as it has come up for the last 4 weeks or so, the Epstein files questions arose. He answered some questions, whatever, the answers are bullshit, but this is very weird to me because he was about to move on to a different conversation, a different question, when all of a sudden he said this.
I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth. And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island.
Yep, you heard that correctly. He never had the, quote, privilege of going to Epstein's Island, which in and of itself, that phrase is a red flag. Let's talk about why. By explicitly using the word privilege and saying, I never had the privilege of going to Epstein Island, it indicates that going there was desirable. He also is normalizing or even glamorizing the idea of not getting to go to what was literally a crime scene. Epstein Island was the epicenter of a human sex trafficking ring, specifically targeted at little girls, underage children. He might as well have said, I've never had the privilege of going to that crime scene. Instead, he's kind of indirectly comparing this to some glamorous island vacation. The other thing is, it sounds defensive at first, but it ultimately has this tone of being envious, which is also weird. And then he goes on to say that he didn't go even though he had the opportunity. So that kind of blows up the spot of like, Jeffrey Epstein and I weren't friends. Jeffrey Epstein and I hadn't talked in years. He is indicating that he was, at the very least, asked to go to Epstein Island. And this is not a good look for Trump or his regime. And I'm sure there are certain people in the White House just like banging their head against a wall right now, because what that comment did was just open the door for additional critique, for additional questions, for this sort of renewed attention. And that's a great thing for the American people, because we need to not shut up about this. But at the same time, this is what happens when you put someone at the helm who has no filter. So we are going to see things like this, and in many ways that could be a good thing for us.
All right, Trumpers, come and get me. Hey, listen, we've got breaking news. Donald Trump now, in an interview with CNN and probably Fox and everybody else who covers it, said that he never had the privilege to go to Epstein Island. That's exactly what he said, word for word. He said it himself. He never had the privilege of going to Jeffrey Epstein's Island. So what does that tell you? That tells you how sick in the head he is. And all you motherfuckers that voted for this man, you are very sick. And especially if you've got kids, you're very sick, okay? Because shows you the type of mentality that Donald Trump has, okay? And it just buffoons me that you people actually thought that this man was a good guy. Did you not learn anything from the first go around at all? You just continue to make your way through thinking, oh, he's our savior. And now you realize he's a little bit on the, with kid, you know where I'm going. But we're going to try to keep it clean for TikTok, because TikTok is so ingrained and twisted up with Donald Trump. They'll censor anything you say. So listen, at the end of the day, you're a sick individual. He's a sick individual. And you voted for him and put him in there. And you put us in this situation. MAGAs, thanks for fucking us.
Very interesting moment. Donald Trump claims that he never had the privilege to go to Jeffrey Epstein's Island. Look at this.
And many other people that are very big people, nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island. Yeah.
Privilege? That's how he's describing going to an island where children are being trafficked. Privilege. Also, his claim is misleading at best, considering there are multiple instances of Donald Trump flying on Jeffrey Epstein's plane being proven through flight logs. But Donald Trump may have not went to that island. I don't think he needed to. He was Jeffrey Epstein's neighbor in both New York and Florida. He essentially brought the island to him. There's even a deposition clip of Jeffrey Epstein invoking the Fifth Amendment when asked if he ever socialized with underage girls around Donald Trump. He can try to rewrite history all that he wants to, but let's not forget the Epstein quote, "I was best friends with the guy for 10 years, referring to Donald Trump. And the truth slipped out today. The privilege of going to...
Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. What do you think, right? Let's keep it real. Do you think that Trump is distancing himself from Epstein, right? I mean, Epstein is practically dead. Or is he revealing more than he meant to? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you think. If you have found value in this video, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you can know when I post a new video. And I'll see you in my next video. Please stay safe. Mental health is important. Ciao.